Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Administering SCCM Current Branch and Microsoft Intune integration. In this training, I'll be discussing about how to manually configure the client custom settings. So if you could remember, in one of our previous video, I actually modify the default client settings. So if I right click on the default client settings, go to properties. Here you see we actually modify the remote tools. So if you are working in a production environment, definitely you will not want to actually configure this for all your devices. You want to actually create a custom client settings for specific device collection group, or for all your device collection group. So what we need to do to actually create a custom client settings is you can right click here and then click create custom client device settings, or we can decide to actually just create by clicking create the custom client device settings. You can see it's going to give us the option to actually create our custom client settings. So here I'm going to give this a name. Let me just call this desktop client custom settings, and we're going to actually modify some of these settings at this moment. And if we actually trying, for example, if we want to deploy our software, we're going to configure our software deployment settings, these settings. And if we're going to actually deploy update, we're going to configure the software update settings. But for now, I'm just going to configure some few of the settings. But if you're working in a production environment, definitely you want to actually configure all the settings, because you've already been given a design on how your config manager should look. But for this moment, let me just configure, for example, let me just configure the background intelligence settings. I'm going to configure the client cache, and also I'm going to select the client policy, and probably we can just go for like the state messaging, and then also we can also select, let me see, I think for now we're just going to do with this. Let me just click OK. And here you can see we have our desktop client custom settings, and it has not been deployed because we've not actually modified the settings. So let me just click on properties again, and if I click on properties, you can see we have all the different settings here we've actually modified. So if I go to the client policy settings, you can see at this moment the client policy polling interval is set to like 60 minutes, but I can actually change this to 10 minutes, because this policy actually determines on how long it should take before your client started actually downloading all the policy that has been deployed to them. So we're going to set this for 10 minutes. And also we're going to actually set our client cache settings. So it says specify client cache settings and whether clients can obtain content from a peer. We can actually configure this, set this to yes, and now we can actually enable the branch cache. Well, let me just leave this to no, but we can actually the maximum branch cache size actually says that 10% is good. Configure the client cache size. Let me just leave this to actually to no, and the maximum size it should be, let me just accept this to yes, and the maximum size should be like 5,120 MB. That should be good. For now, I think I'm going to leave this for enable as peer cache source. Just select yes as well, and then we're going to put support for initial network broadcast. Okay, this should be on. And then for the background intelligence transfer, this is actually set to no. Let me just actually select yes on this, and I'm going to leave the throttling window state time. I think I should leave that for now. And also on that, let me go to state messaging. State messaging reporting cycle is set to 15 minutes. Let me change this to 10 minutes. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually let security. At this moment, you can see that I have the rate modified delete system security scope. So what I'm going to do for this moment, I'm going to actually just only modify the settings. So in our subsequent videos, we're going to actually modify some other settings. Here you can see we have the option to actually modify some other settings. So if we are going to configure our hardware inventory, we're going to actually modify the settings. For example, our power management, we're going to modify this setting. So and also for the endpoint protection. So I'm going to show you how to actually configure all this. So let me just click OK. And in one of my previous videos, I actually configure a device collection group, a static device collection group. If I go to my assets and compliance, and here you can see we have device collection. So you can actually create a static, I just call that a very simple name, static collection. You can see we only have one member count. Let me click show members, and I show member. You can see we have just one device, and that is this device. So what I need to do right now is we can decide to go to, let me go back again to my client settings, and here we have our desktop client custom settings. So we need to actually deploy the settings to our client devices, so when we start actually deploying all our policies, then or deploying our clients, then the client will just retrieve the policies. So what we need to do is click deploy, and here you can see it says device collection. So here is all the different device collection, but be very careful if you are trying to actually deploy for example, you want to deploy an app or a software. Be very careful that you don't deploy that software to all systems, because all your devices or your client devices or your servers will receive that policy. So at this moment we want to deploy it to our static collection, and then click OK, and you can see the deployment is set to 1. Thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video. My name is Kelvin Johnson, and please just click next to watch the next video. And if this video has been of any help to you, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more IT videos. And if you have any question, you can always leave a comment in the comment section of this video, and I'll reply to you as quick as possible. Thank you very much, and goodbye.